2/3 of Americans are at risk to experience blackout. You could be one of them, sitting in the dark and cold for hours, for days, maybe even weeks. Are you ready to protect your family? You could be with Patriot Power Solar Generator 2000X. Folks say this new solar generator from 4 Patriots is worth its weight in gold. Why? Because this generator has double the capacity and is expandable so you can run the big appliances like your fridge even longer. Or other devices like an electric blanket, microwave, RV air conditioner, or even an electric wheelchair. You also get 12 outlets, including 4 AC outlets, so you can power more devices at once, and 2 USB-C outlets, which can charge your phone 20 times faster than a regular plug. Best of all, this new solar generator is fume-free, safe to use inside, and never needs gas, ever. Over 150,000 Americans trust Patriot Power generators. Go to 4patriots.com/VTTGW to get your solar generator now. You'll even get a solar panel included free.
Hey, what's up, trash talkers? Listen, it's impossible to fight, okay, if you don't know what you're fighting for. Does that make sense? Like, if you're in the dumps and you're struggling with mental health, things of that nature, it's going to continue tearing you down, all right? Because you're consistently trying to fight something, which is that demon, which is usually something from the past, right? Maybe that why needs to be fighting for your future. Let that be your why. Get the hell up and start fighting for your future. Stop fighting things that happened in the past. Easier said than done, right? Go seek help. It's okay not to be okay. A lot of people need to hear this. You are more of a warrior and a fighter if you stand up and say, hey, this has to stop. I need to go seek help. The stigma, everything has changed. It's okay not to be okay.
Here is a firm believer in all men are created equal, but not all men live equal. That is why there's a certain select number of people in the DoD who decided to jump out of airplanes. And yes, we are better than you. 100%. Now, don't be the first triggered pansy to say, well, airborne's not relevant. You haven't jumped since World War II. Well, that's not accurate, for one. And two, it's like having a jalopy or a 68 Mustang. Well, a 68 Mustang's no longer relevant. Doesn't matter. It's still a better car than yours. So take it easy this National Airborne Day and just accept that we are better than you.
So, 2 things for today's Honesty Cap. First thing, how do all my boys from the 101st feel knowing that the Army decided that instead of actually making you airborne, they would just create a whole new division that's airborne because you just aren't cutting it? It sucks. Thing number 2, for all the folks who were like, oh, airborne is irrelevant, doesn't even matter, they're making a whole new division of just airborne people because they're relevant. Think about that. How's that feel? Does it hurt a little bit? I hope it hurts a little bit.
This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, and Buddy. Real warriors making fun of other real warriors. Try to not get triggered.
What's going on, Frontworks Nation? VTT. Welcome to episode 151 of the Trash Talk Hour. Special guest today is Ace with the Bullet
Maybe.
Podcast, and I am joined with Chris, Sergeant Major Gimbal, soon to be, and what's going
Yeah,
on?
he looked
buddy?
different as fuck. Yeah. I'm just saying he looks different, and that's what happens to people down there. All right, they drink the Kool-Aid, and they either stay cool or they turn into like what he looks like right now.
Is that because it's
I
so
think he's
close to
doing well.
Mexico? You drink the water. You know you're not supposed to drink the water down there.
No. They drink that old Sergeant Major water that makes them just all of a sudden forget who they were. Like it is. It's true. Because I mean,
He's
I'm just
turning
saying.
into a stud, though. We went to a gym this morning, and he's turning into a beast, man. That's
Well, yeah,
all he does is work out.
Yeah, he just
every
sits
day.
down there in that little bowl on the east side of El Paso and lifts weights. You don't do nothing else. But yeah, I don't know where our guest went. So
we're thinking technical difficulties.
yeah, she was.
Okay,
she was on. But then when we started the promo video,
When Chris was laughing, I was like, "Did I fuck something up? Is her name not Ace?"
No, you're good. You're good. Let me see.
For once, Dave, you didn't fuck shit up.
Hey, that's awesome, man. This is gonna be a good Saturday, dude. Just give it a couple hours, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you guys got going on? What are you doing in Arizona?
Having a couple drinks, and then that's really it.
Yeah.
Can you talk anything about the academy? What it's like for anybody that's watching or soon to be upcoming sergeant majors?
I'll tell them.
Tell them, give them some leadership advice, man. Put you on the spot.
A lot of writing,
Yeah.
a lot of reading.
A lot of reading, yeah. So Marines don't really go to Sergeant Major's Academy, right?
There's some Marines there. There's a few Marines there.
They can written in crayon.
Listen, we're not all ASVAB waivers.
Yeah.
Just majority of us.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good, though. I'm happy for you. You're gonna be a good one, Sergeant Major Gimble. That'll be good.
Ace
Has a good ring to it.
Yeah, Ace probably got scared, so it's probably why it's typical. I know the DV vets listen to this a lot, and the DV vets there. I mean, I've been on their show a few times, and they get a little nervous when the VTT crowd hangs out because we're kind of like we can say this now. We're kind of like the big deal in the veteran podcast arena.
We are.
There isn't really anybody.
And just a quick shout out to them. Don't get triggered. Don't be a freaking triggered pansy.
Hey,
Quit being a
Dave,
triggered pansy.
over there.
Check out the QR code. Well, for me, it's right there in front of me, so it's going like this or like that. And go cop a shirt. $19.99, cheap as hell. Yeah.
She says she's trying to get back in.
About this, I was gonna wait for the conspiracy. We'll give her a shot to come back in, right?
She says she's trying to, but we'll see. But yeah, I think it's more of she's scared.
I mean, you could do the Book of Earl while we wait.
We could, we could. And I usually like to get into the flow and feel out what the room's like, but it's no big deal. It kind of goes with what Buddy was talking about last week and fat shaming people on an airplane. Now, because again, we all we shouldn't say that, and that's the Big Earl. When you follow the Book of Earl, when you read it like scripture, like you should, you start to realize that how soft we're becoming as a society, right? And everybody wants to say how hard they are until they get confronted with an option whether to be hard or to be soft, right? And I'm not talking about tacos, right? Like you literally you think you're hard, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, I can't make fun of that person for being. Why not? I mean,
I think they have a pill for that.
They do, yeah. It's a blue one. Well, I mean, and then hey, word of wise to the vets getting out. Hey, just go to the doc, tell them it don't work no more, and you get 10%, bro. So and they can't test it. So I
don't know. I mean, if it's a Navy doc, they might try to test it.
Right, you never know. But what I wanted to talk about, because I was. Buddy wasn't going to come on, so it was kind of weird that we were both going to talk about the airport. And his was fat shaming, but mine is, if you want to see just how stupid this world is, all you got to do is go to an airport, right? All you got to do and see the
place for people watching, for sure.
Right, but you
made a whole show about it. Yeah,
and you see the entitlement culture that we've created. Right, where everybody wants that instant gratification, everybody's about them, and we've already covered it. Where people got these support dogs, right? That are I'm why I'm just gonna start having a support peacock and bring that motherfucker on a plane, right? And be this is mine. This makes me feel better. I have anxiety. Then don't fly.
Support alligators.
Get your ass on a car and drive. Okay, guess what? It's more dangerous to drive on the road than it is to fly in the air. All right, but
100%.
again,
yep.
these people don't get it. And so, like, today's book of Earl is, again, don't be weak. All right. Now, we all have moments of weakness, but don't be weak. When, like, over and over again, you keep letting these fucking morons do dumb shit because you're afraid to step up and stop it. All right. You're not doing anything good. And that's whether it's, in the military or civilian life, doesn't matter. Right. Like, again, we say this on the show all the time. If you want to fucking stop being a dude and be a chick, right? Like, none of us really care, right? Like,
At
you
all.
go,
We
you go ahead
support
and,
Buddy.
Go-
We
yeah,
support Buddy.
through his transition, right?
Yeah.
So like, but you as the person changing needs to realize that you have a mental disorder. All right, you literally are classified as fucking being mentally retarded. All right, that you want to like cut your dick off, right? Like that's from Johns Hopkins University, not my opinion. I'm saying it a little different than that doctor did, but that's pretty much what he was saying. All right, he's like saying you're fucking mentally retarded. Like,
it's called what? Gender dysmorphia or something like that?
Right, but the reason we got rid of insane asylums was because they were performing surgeries on people, like physical surgeries on mentally handicapped people, right? That's bad. And so now we're literally pushing it on people like, yeah, you should cut your dick off. It'll make you feel better. It'll make you feel like a person that you want to be. Like, no, you're not supposed to do that. All right, but here we are. And Buddy says this all the time. He's like, we didn't think it would catch up to us. We didn't think that it would have started affecting our lives. And like I said, I have 2 daughters. So when I watch them play sports and then I watch some dude come in and beat them by about 50 meters in a track event, right? It's like, okay, Big Earl about to get up and go talk to the school board real quick. Right. And so that's exactly what happens. And that dude now runs with the dudes and never wins a race. All right. Like, just the way it is. Like, I'm sorry that you.
I just sent you that thing about golf today.
Well, yeah, the golf thing, I covered that. If you follow Big Earl's page, I cover that all the time. It's I call it's our time, Kings. It's our time to take every record. Right now, while these morons are in charge, we can own every women's record. All right. We can own Miss America. We got Miss Puerto Rico. That's a dude. Right. We got like, now we got this golf dude winning a tournament, and they used it on National Women's Day. They said, they're like, oh, biological males can no longer compete in golf. No shit. Right. Because they're going to beat you. All right. Now we're getting off topic on the trans thing. But when you go to the airport, all right, just watch people. And I'm going to give you the story. All right. I'm sitting there minding my own business, right? Just, being the Big Earl. And now I can't mind my own business very well, but I'm trying, right? I'm sitting there. And all of a sudden, this lady goes, excuse me, does anybody want to take their bag out so I can put my bag up? And I'm sitting there like, that's odd. It's like, you're late on the plane. Just go check it. Right? Like, kind of how that shit works, like, common sense. And then, and she goes, well, I guess this isn't going to happen. And so she takes a bag out. That's not hers. And then this dude goes, I'll put my bag back, please. Right. So now we got drama. So now the lady's like, oh, everybody just wants to think about themselves nowadays. Right. And then the one guy in the middle goes, he's like shit, because the guy is next to him and then the girl's sitting next to him. He's like, should I just start recording this now? That's what he says. Right. And so I turn around and I go, look, lady, your logic's fascinating. That's absolutely fascinating. She looks at me and I was like, you're calling everybody else selfish while getting mad because nobody will take their bag so you can put your bag up there. Like, you're batshit crazy, lady. Like, no. Like, you go check your bag, but you just, that right there is exactly what happened. If you can't handle yourself on an airport, that should be like the ultimate mirror check, like looking in the mirror at yourself. Like, if all these people are bothering you, it's probably fucking you, right? It's probably not. It's probably not all these people who are randomly smashed into this aluminum can. Ain't nobody happy in that bitch, right? Nobody is, all right? But we all seem to find a way to just sit in our seat, put our seatbelt on,
and show up on time.
Right? And then we just fly. Okay, so that's what I was going to cover until Buddy covered the fat shaming, and then I do want to talk about the State of the Union address. All right, I don't know if any of you watch it. Now
I didn't even watch it, bro. I was just like, I can't. Like,
I usually don't, but and again, I watched all the COVID briefs by Trump because it was just the greatest television ever created. Anytime you get to watch Sleepy Joe get up there and talk, like you watch it, right? Because like that dude's gonna do some.
And disclaimer, we want Biden to succeed because then we benefit.
Everybody benefits if everybody succeeds, right?
Everyone wants to do shitty.
Yeah, we're not wishing bad.
It's funny how you gotta It's funny how you gotta say that though, because people will get.
Yeah, they'll get triggered as fuck.
Yeah,
and
of course we want him to succeed. Fuck it,
right?
Like,
but I mean, obviously,
if he fails, we suffer. He doesn't suffer. He's set.
I want, again,
go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, I think I covered this like 2 years ago when I was talking about what they actually
to national security. Yeah, Brian, you're right. Sorry.
Well, I mean, technically, Brian, we're all a threat to national security because I mean,
we definitely are.
we can't fly on a plane without a fucking giant dog. All right, so we're all in big trouble when you get punched in the face. All right, so it's so frustrating because they do the research on what's the education level of the audience that the speech is intended to reach. Now it fluctuates by State of the Union. Sometimes it's like you got to be at like a sophomore high school reading level to kind of comprehend what they were talking about. And sometimes it goes down to like the 5th and 6th grade level, right? And again, that's not making fun of the president. Right? I think one of Obama's State of the Union, like you had to read at a 6th grade level. That's who they were trying to target. People with that type of education level, right? Now that's not saying that Obama is at a 6th grade reading level because Obama's smart as fuck, right? Like that's who he's trying.
Yeah, he is.
That's who he's trying to reach.
That right? International education.
That's what it is. So if you listen to the State of the Union and I watch it, I just bake some popcorn, and put it on there to see the fireworks start happening, right? Like, and he literally said that one of the main goals of his presidency is to get rid of hidden fees when you buy stuff. I'm like, that's what the president's gonna do. He's like, yeah, when you buy something digital, it should be there in the price, and there shouldn't be any hidden fees. I was like, oh, we're fucked. Like we're fucked. if that's gonna move the needle, like I'm voting for this guy so that I don't have any more hidden fees when I get AT&T. Right? Like, no, the idea is you read the fucking contract, right? Like, that's the idea. Like, oh shit, there's after 6 months.
He's losing his entire voter base, though. Like, even like the Democratic Party is just like, we don't want him anymore. Like, many people are just now, like, at least they're being honest, and that's what I like because I have a lot of Democratic friends as well, but they're like, Dave, you were right, like, and I'm not a big like Trump, because he's a bit of a knucklehead too, but. Holy cow, like everybody's just starting to realize that this guy's dude. Did you guys see him at the border? Like he finally went to the border and how like slow they had to walk next to him, like the border. Like it's sad, right? Like it's honestly like his mental health, he's not there anymore. Like and he is running I mean,
they had to physically corral him.
Right? But he is gonna make sure that there are no more hidden fees.
He ain't doing shit anyway.
No more hidden fees. No more hidden fees. All right. We're good, man. America is saved. You're like hell yeah! Like you're gonna no more.
That's the end of communism. Hidden fees. Get rid of them.
But, that you kind of hit it, Dave. Where I was gonna get at to where
way to steal his thunder, Dave.
How this culminates? No, it's good. Is how this culminates to where we are as a society.
You are my sister. I love you, girl.
Yeah. Where like you can brag about that all you want. I don't label myself, Candace. All right, you can label yourself and be in that fixed mindset all you want, right? Like all I know is. There was only one president in my entire fucking voting lifetime that didn't start a new war. And I'm not going to say his name, but you can probably guess it. All right. Everybody else who fights on this war machine, they're on both sides. All right. That's why, like, when you label yourself, like, I go for it. Like, call yourself that. That means that I don't have to talk to you about certain things because you've already been set in stone that that's the way you are. Right. Like, I just love to hear it out. Now, culminating the Book of Earl is, you got the airport week people. You got these morons watching the State Union going, hell yeah, no more hidden fees, right? Morons, right? And then you got, like you said, you got your Dem friends that are saying like, oh, you were right. We are going to sit here and have an election in the freest country in the world with two people that nobody likes.
Yeah.
Right. Now you have a lot of like, MAGA supporters out there, and anybody who denies that, again, you're dumb. there are some serious MAGA supporters, obviously, right? Ones that actually show up and vote.
And that far
Right.
right-wing shit is fucking disturbing. Just like
Right. I'm not even talking about the far right. I'm talking about just the MAGA people, because there are a lot of people that are really happy with the way, like, you know, the country was when they were, you know, before they made up a fake virus and all that shit. Like, you know, so like they were really happy about that. But yeah, we're going to watch this. Watch the narrative change in the next few months, and you guys can come back on and tell me I was wrong. That's fine. But just watch at how ugly this campaign is going to get. And the reason why it's going to get that ugly is because the logical people on this planet, all right, in this country, know that both of them are not good for the country. Okay. And we're going to have to vote with. Like, and as the freest country in the world, that's where this weak society of not standing up for what's right and what's wrong is catching up to everyone. All right.
It's kind of like trying to pick the shiniest turd in the bucket, and they're all dull.
Right. And again, you can say that about every politician, right? Anybody who thinks that the federal government is going to come in and save them. Sorry. Like, we can't even get our leave squared away when we're in the military, man. Like, we don't even know, like, we can't fill out a form properly, right? And you think the federal government going to come in and save you? Nah. Like, that's not the way anything was set up.
That Ramsey guy, Vivek, whatever his name is, Vivek Ramsey, the guy, he seems like he's solid.
No, that's exactly right. He was the one that was talking about reopening insane asylums.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, not only are we like promoting mental handicaps, like we're literally promoting like to put those people in power. like no, that's not where they should be, right? Like that we should not have incompetent people. And again, technically we voted for them, but that'll start a whole nother shit show. So like,
you got the time.
Yeah, like, and again,
our guest is no longer with us today.
Yeah, our guest is not coming on.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
This is why everybody should have a baker.
Yeah, she's like, did I get booted for being audio only? I was like, no, we're waiting on you.
She dropped off on her own. I didn't do anything on that.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, that's. I mean, we could chat about that. You know, the local government is where it's at. You're right, Candace. Exactly, right. And so, but again, people don't get that, and this has already been done by Pew researchers and everybody, where it's like over 50% of voters now are considered uneducated voters.
But you know what? On that local government, that seems to be a problem too. Look at that thing going on, and I think it's in Michigan or whatever. That one mayor that has spent, it's putting these townships into like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt, so much so that the state banks are repossessing cop cars. But she's got a bulletproof Tahoe as a city mayor of some small town. Dave, I don't know what you did, but you're.
You unplug your mic? We got the reverb again.
Really? No, it's still plugged in, brother.
Whatever you did.
Yeah, you screwed up.
Nothing.
Check your input.
Check your input output.
It's plugged
Just
in.
mute yourself.
But it's they're like FBI is involved with this chick now. But she would, spend thousands of dollars here, thousands of dollars there, bought this $159,000 Tahoe. And she's like, it wasn't that much. And then they pull up the invoice and it's right there. It was hilarious. That might be one for Dave to cover next week.
Yeah, we could.
I'll have to look into that one. Should we talk about the conspiracy that I found?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's just the four of us anyway for this show. So
let's do it. Why we might as well bring Candace on. We can
bring Candace on.
Candace, I can send her. On. You're talking at least.
I'll send her the link.
Candace, you're coming on.
But Love conspiracy. Yes, we
We're
do
getting
too.
there.
And
We're
I
getting
and
there.
I and I and I yeah I the night before I unhear myself too.
I unfortunately.
Dude, what the
Oh,
hell?
Ace is back.
Bro, I am the best technical guy ever today. All right, because one, I thought it was all screwed up.
Dave, check your actual settings cog, Dave.
Okay.
And look
Don't
at your
worry,
input.
don't worry. The sergeant major's going to say, "Hey, see you there?"
I am here. I'm here.
All
I'm
right.
here.
Perfect.
I thought I got the boot for being audio only.
Not at all.
No, we just booted you because we don't support women doing anything pop during Women's History Month. So
That's
Damn it.
really that'll probably get you really far too.
I mean, you never know. You never know. Right now is where's this reverb coming from? It's still Dave.
It's Dave. I just muted him.
I mute Dave's motherfucking ass. Right? I'm trying to hear myself talk. Right?
Well, with Dave, you get to hear it twice.
Yeah, you get to hear it twice. I sound double better. Does that make sense? Double better?
No.
Double good.
This is fun because I never get to talk trash, so this is kind of fun for me. I get to sort of go back and forth with you guys.
Well, yeah, you missed it. We have Candace in the chat thread. We know Candace very well. And she's
Just
gone
dropped off again.
Bye, Felicia. So, damn it. He said, turn the damn squelch down. You even got Brian yelling at you, Dave. Holy shit. Like, Brian's like one of the nicest guys. And, like, he's yelling at you.
Dave, you're unmuted.
Yeah. Yeah, you're unmuted. Now we can't hear you. This is awesome.
I don't know what to tell you guys, man. I might just have to log off.
This actually is the best dumpster fire we had because
Jesus
it
Christ.
is. Jesus Christ, Dave.
It is. It's a fucking dumpster fire.
What about
Why
now?
you don't move shit, Dave?
We can hear you. It says when we talk, we hear it all.
We can hear us too. All right, so let's do this, Dave.
Just mute
We'll
Dave. They
shut
can hand
up.
single.
You explain the conspiracy, and then I'll mute you and play it.
Okay, let's do it. All right.
So talk.
Okay,
Tell us about it.
Yeah. So you guys all know the boxer Ryan Garcia? You can just like shake your heads, like yes or no. So he's a
Nope.
pretty famous boxer, and he went on this Twitter rant the other day with a bunch of people, and it was over audio, it was like a podcast, whatever they do on X. All right, it's not Twitter anymore. And he talked about how like he was at the Bohemian Grove, which we've covered that conspiracy. It's this place in California where like the elite meet with each other. And basically that he was tied up and had to watch like some like crazy shit happen there. And then like for the last week or two, it's just been crazy like Twitter rants on like Illuminati type stuff, demonic stuff, how he's a believer in God and the elite are telling him that he needs to stop. And then like yesterday or the day before, he went on Twitter and did like a video on X, and said that like he's back to normal and everything is okay. But then, like a day later, it's like they're gonna kill me in April. It's just like crazy, and everybody's calling him crazy. Some people are saying he's telling the truth, and they're getting to him. Kind of like a lot of people think like Kanye isn't as crazy as they say he is. It's like he's going against the elite, right? He's going against the establishment, and as soon as you do that, then they come after you, right? So I guess the question to the panel after we play this video is Ryan Garcia telling the truth? Did he really go to the Bohemian Grove where he was tied up and stuff? Or is he just full of shit doing it for stardom, all this crazy stuff? But like, if you go on X, read his tweets. They are insane. And go ahead and play the video, Chris, and then we'll go from there.
Mute his like
Talk to us.
Bro, I don't give a bro. They held me down and they made me watch little kids get. I don't give a anymore.
Where?
Bro, they took me to the woods, bro, and they tied. I'm not joking, bro. I have proof, bro. I don't give a bro. I will show you every video you could ever believe. Bohemian Grove is real. They tied me down and they made me watch, dog. I absolutely don't give a anymore. Yes, I lost it. They're little kids.
Come on, fuck this side.
Bro, this dude.
Who
Bro,
You do know
you know the higher elites, bro. You already know who they are, bro.
you know the path you're going down is dangerous, my friend.
I don't give a. I don't give a. They can't touch me. I'm a god.
Well, that's the first point of contention because I care about you a lot, and I can assure you from my own personal experience that they can touch you, which is the worst part
no,
about
they
it.
can't, bro. All right, so come touch me, you fucking.
You have proof of these things. You have proof of this on your phone?
Yes, of course I do. What the fuck are you talking about? Of course, if Alex could get a fucking video from the Bohemian Grove, of course I could.
Well, I have to be careful what I say because I'm in the middle of a judicial process right now.
You want me to get you out of it? I can help.
Well, bro, my door gets kicked in if I say what I'm thinking.
Okay, well, I can help you get out of it.
Just like so many more rants on Twitter. Like if you guys just go on X, sorry, it's crazy. And then of course he's called crazy now, and he's like openly saying like drug test me like immediately. I'm not on drugs. I'm not doing anything. I guess the question to the panel to everybody is he just batshit crazy, or is there some truth to this? Like, is he trying to expose something? Because they always say when people try to expose stuff, like in Hollywood, then they always become the target, right? Like a lot of people say that about Michael Jackson, like that he wasn't really doing the things that they said he was, but like he was trying to, because in a lot of his music, he was kind of exposing stuff like that. They said about artists like Tupac, right? They say the Illuminati killed him. Who knows? I think there might be a little bit of truth to it, just based on like the videos that I saw afterwards where he's like apologizing and saying that he didn't mean any of that stuff, and then the following day he's right back at it. I definitely think there's something going on. I don't know if he was at the Bohemian Grove and he was tied up and had to watch like those atrocities happen, but I do definitely think there is some truth to that, just based on everything, and that they probably are targeting him and telling him to shut the fuck up. Sergeant Major Gimbel, what are your thoughts? You're not gonna comment? Crazy. All right, good take. Chris, what are your thoughts?
I think he's taken one too many hits to the head. Like it's if he's seen all of this and he's out there with it and he knows what they're capable of, why would you say anything? Like they're gonna come after you, just like he was interviewing.
Will you mute Dave's mic already while you're talking?
Who was that he was interviewing with is my question, because that guy's like, I'm already caught up in a case and I can't say anything, but he's having this guy on there like it. Who? Andrew Tate? Yeah, I don't know.
Ready? It's about isn't that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, Chris. So your take is crazy? Like there's no truth to it? None of it?
Yeah, he's fucking batshit.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Nick, what are your thoughts on all of this?
Right. And again, everyone should always listen to what I say. That's why they save me for last. I will give you what's actually happening, the most educated, opinion on it. We got some action in the chat, right? We got Candace saying, mental episode. And then you got every day's a Saturday, our favorite guy on YouTube. He's like, I got to research this Bohemian Grove. Like, now again, Dave's always been into the conspiracies more than I have been. And when I start, we start researching this stuff about the Bohemian Grove, like it's fucked up shit. Like, now, if you want to live in your little weak bubble, like I talked about the Big Earls earlier, and I said, you want to live in that weak bubble where this shit doesn't happen, right? Where we don't have children being trafficked, like we don't have adults being trafficked. And I'm not talking about, some of the immigrants that we're trafficking right now through the border as we speak, through our great president, right? Like all that stuff. Like we're just trafficking people and doing what we're doing, right? This happens. And when you start hanging out with some, like, I'm not talking about what we think is rich. I'm talking about like when you start hanging out with rich people, like the people that move the needle, like you brought up, Dave, like a Michael Jackson, right? That dude moves the needle, right? Oh no, Candace, I'm not saying you're not. I'm talking about people that think like we're just going to dismiss that this couldn't have happened, right? Like that is the easiest way to not accept that there is ugliness in this world. Is to just say, nah, that shit don't happen. No, it does. right? And I've asked this to a couple people who, are very, very, very well off. I go, what's the excitement there? I'm like, what are they doing? And it's like, it's more of a power thing. And it's more, again, it's when you have everything that you can possibly want on this planet, what else is going to excite you? Right? You got to be, it becomes a power thing where it's like, it's not, sometimes it's not even what they say. It's like, it's not even like a sexual thing. It's more of just having the power and doing that to another human being. Right? I don't know this boxer's story. Right? I stopped following boxing when there was like 17 different title belts that they were handing out. Right? Like, so I don't know how popular he is or if he moves the needle somewhere. Like, does he move the needle like where, where the powers that be might want him to shut the hell up? Like, did they bring him there? Because again, you look at any prominent figure who has stood on some type of moral code or compass, they're dead. All right. Like, show me one person or talk about one person who stood up for what was right and had a lot of money and was in the political spotlight and survived. All right. It's very hard to find somebody like that. It's very hard to find somebody who does what's right and lives. All right. When it gets that powerful. So only thing I'll question, Dave, before you talk, between your mic back on is who's this boxer guy? And does he have a reach? Does he have an influence of where the Illuminati, or call him whatever you want, right? Was it the right eye? Right? You call him whatever you want. Like, is it worth it for them to even bring that guy to that place?
The Lizard Illuminati.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you got, Dave? You talking, Dave? We unmute him. Ace, you there?
He's unmuted.
All right, we'll see if we got you.
You got me.
The only thing that you were able to watch the conspiracy at all, Ace?
Yeah, are you guys talking about the boxer?
Yes.
Yeah, my take on that is trust but verify, obviously. But if you look at somebody like him, you have to think and ask yourself, what does he have to gain here? And he really doesn't have anything to gain, but he has everything to lose,
Everything
right?
to lose.
So,
Yep.
and to say, well, even if he gets publicity from this, I don't necessarily think it's the right publicity that would help him in his particular field. So to say, oh, the sacrifice doesn't happen or trafficking doesn't happen or these sorts of things don't happen, I think would be naive. But he is bringing light to a bigger issue, which is SRA, satanic ritual abuse. It exists. Child trafficking exists. Child exploitation exists. These things happen every single day. And, some professionals, we've dealt with it firsthand, victims, people that have escaped those kinds of things. So my inclination, especially with the dirty, disgusting things that happen at Bohemian Grove, and like John Rich, the country singer, says, he's been invited there every single year since he's been famous. And he said he's been invited there by wealthy politicians, by other country music stars. He talks about it on Twitter if anybody wants to verify. And he confirms the disgusting things that happen there. It's real. Alex Jones has gone undercover and exposed all the things that have happened there. So I'm inclined to believe him. I don't think he has anything to gain from lying about it.
Yeah, and
the stuff that goes on at the Bohemian Grove, like you just hit on that, like Alex Jones is fucking crazy. We all know that, but like presidents go there and like world leaders from like other countries, and they meet there and they pray to a fucking owl. Like there's a statue of an owl, and they dress up like fucking druids and chant shit in the woods. Like it's like legit.
Yeah. So anybody that hasn't,
man, like what the fuck's going on? And then like you look at the dollar bill, and then like on the corner we have an owl, like a really small one. Like it's just weird stuff, man, that we probably will never find out what actually happens there. But I think you wanted to hit up.
Yeah. Ryan Garcia, he's a hell of a boxer. He was 24-0 and took a break for about a year because he had anxiety and depression issues. And then he had a history of mental issues, supposedly, and then came back, got his ass whooped by Tank out of Baltimore, um, and then hasn't fought since, and has been real quiet. So he might just be doing it for clout, to be honest, because he kind of fell off a little bit after Tank beat the hell out of his ass his last fight.
I disagree. I'm with Ace on this one, where she mentioned like he literally has everything to lose. Like people are calling him crazy all over the place. Like you're not going to gain, in my opinion, publicity over that. Like come up with something else, do something else crazy, but don't like crazy talk like that. Like they will shut you down. Like literally, you'll lose everything, and he currently is. You know,
but he has a platform outside of boxing. He's made a name for himself on social media, just going around and he does this thing where he just hooks them in their fucking rib cage once. And he's got a big following from that alone. So yeah, it's gonna be hard to silence him just based off of his social media platform.
Well, that was what my question was about this boxer. I was like, is it worth it for the elites to invite him to there? Like, does he have that kind of? Do they want him to be on the same page as them so that they're pushing the right narrative for all the other sheep out there? And I'm with Candace there. It's like I never knew him before this, so any publicity is good publicity.
Absolutely right, Candace.
Because we cover this on the fight show and the NFL show where all the bro vets get really upset about Colin Kaepernick and taking a knee. And I was like, Colin Kaepernick is a fucking genius.
Third string.
That dude was third string. He got benched. He wasn't even playing anymore. He put on some pig socks, took a knee during the national anthem, and now he gets $20 million a year from Nike, right? He's making more from Nike than he was in the NFL. And then every 2 years he comes out and says, oh, I want to play in the NFL again. He's just staying relevant. That's all he's doing, just keeping that money coming in. So, like, that's an interesting one because, again, like what I was talking about, Ace, I don't know if you heard before, is like, I think the easiest way that we I can't say the word, big word, compartmentalize what is happening, and if we don't like it, like we just brush it off, right? We put it into a box over here and says, no, that's just crazy people. Like,
well,
nope,
what
that's
compounds
just drugs.
with that? Right. And you have the media working against the narrative as well. You have
100%.
5 major companies that own every single media outlet from quote left to quote right. So in that world, in the world of greed, in the world of power, and on a global scale, you have an epic battle of good and evil, whether people want to face it or not. And if you're not playing the game, they'll screw you 2 times to Tuesday. You're either on board with the dark, seedy underbelly of it all, or you're out of the game. And then in a PR world where the media controls everything, they will use anything against you to make you look crazy. And if he did, I'm just saying, if he did go through all of those things, like he said he did, that would cause anxiety, depression, substance abuse, etc.
Yeah, very, very good point, Ace. And then I'll kind of deep dive in what I was saying as well about let's pick some of the quote unquote politicians, right? Who actually have tried to stop something, or do something good, right? And like look what happens to them, right?
Yes.
Right, like JFK didn't want to get involved in the Vietnam War to the amount of numbers that all the advisors said he'd have to get involved with. Right. And then he also was like, why did this 1950s Civil Rights Act get stopped? Right. And so he started poking around about that. So he was like, why are these things being, blocked and stopped? And all of a sudden he's dead. Right. And then, you'll come up with all it was the mafia or it was the union because the union got him elected. And then he went to RICO laws, whatever, So like there you go. Then you got Martin Luther King. Right. Martin Luther King. Nobody until he spoke out against, telling black men not to volunteer for the Vietnam War. Right. He never talked about the Vietnam War in any of his speeches. And then when he finally did, he was dead a week later. Right. It's like, wait, you are stopping something that this train's moving and you ain't stopping it. Right. So that, like I said, that's where I'm like, and then again, nobody wants to talk about Trump because it triggers people. All right. But again, is the only president in my voting lifetime that has not started a new conflict, right? Did not start a new war, right? And all of a sudden he gone. Now he's too big. He's way too powerful for them to murder him, right? But like, hey, like, because he's probably got some things hidden in a vault somewhere that you kill him, they get released, right? And so like that's an assumption by me. But again, he was not doing things like what Ace was talking about, the good versus evil battle. He wasn't taking the evil side on some of these things globally, and he gone, right? Like that much. So yeah, Megan says didn't start any conflicts. Well, guess what? The whole world's full of conflicts, Megan. So, but yeah, he didn't start any new wars.
Yeah.
Weird. So, but hey, let's get into Ace.
Yeah, let's get into our guest. Huh?
Seeing that she's here, right? And it's and again, there was conspiracy involved in this show. It's like, did we boot her off? Did Russia boot her off? Right? Like, what's going on?
The Chinese.
It was the Chinese. Is it a Chinese spy boot? I just saw a shadow go over my house. It's like, oh shit. But we go on we hang around the same channels in the veteran podcast community, and we start talking to each other, trying and doing everything we can to support each other. And with MBR Radio, and I know Ace, you just got picked up by Reached Across America Radio, which also Cliff is on, the mental health warrior who does the show on Wednesday here. Now, I will trash Reached Across America Radio a little bit because they said that we're too vulgar for their platform.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah. Maybe that's why we got more followers than you. But anyways, it's because we speak the truth. But no, hey, really excited. If you don't listen to the Bulletproof podcast, all right, that Ace runs, I've listened to about 2 full episodes and probably bits and pieces of about 4 other ones. It's a tremendous podcast, and she's when we ask all of our guests for like a bio and all this thing, and she sent out this whole list of certifications, and I kind of got stuck because I didn't see Jedi Master on there, so I wonder what was happening with why didn't you finish that school? Because at least Buddy was still on there, he was a Jedi Master, and then so you got like I mean a whole rap sheet of awesome things that you've been through in your life and trained yourself with. So really excited, and again, this has nothing to do with Women's History Month. But it's divine intervention that our first guest of Women's History Month is a woman. So, allegedly, right? We're guessing just by the picture and by your voice. But I don't want to.
100% woman.
Yeah. Okay. So let's jump right into it. Tell us what you got going on at the Bulletproof Podcast, and anything that you want to cover based off of like how this all happened, what's happened in your life to get you to where you are, and what can we do to help you.
Wow, what a great question. Well, first off, I just want to let you guys know that next month is Men's History Month. So I'm really excited for you guys to kick that off.
Nice. Yeah. And again, like I'm on the full page right now with the people who are in power that are allowing, transgenders. Pretty soon men will control everything again. Like we're getting.
Don't worry, next month is your month.
Every record.
That's awesome. So a little bit of background. Right now, I'm up to 64 certifications, but basically it's a challenge. I challenge myself to see how many certifications I can get in a short amount of time. So it's a constant running thing. I really enjoy studying. I know that sounds crazy, but it's my version of self-care. I think it's a really fun way to sort of level up. So I just continue to do that, continue to get new certifications in law enforcement or mental health or Homeland Security or search and rescue, depending on what I'm feeling that month. A lot of medical certifications as well. I'm a former missing person incident commander where I worked for a national nonprofit. And I'm also a volunteer for Operation Underground Railroad, which is the same organization, which is the basis of that movie, Sound of Freedom, that some of you guys have seen.
Wow.
And I just wrapped up season 4, and that was a really exciting, really fun, really eye-opening season. You were asking me why I'm not a Jedi yet. I still feel like I'm a Padawan, so I have to interview all the Jedis that I can get on my show. So I had lots of interesting people this season. Brian Roof, if you're listening, every day's a Saturday. He came on last season. He's a former aerospace employee, former Marine. Sarah Adams, she's a former CIA targeter. She wrote Benghazi, Know Thy Enemy. That was a super interesting, very powerful very interesting interview about all the terror cells on the border and what's going on in Afghanistan. I talked with Ryan McMillan. He's a former Navy SEAL. He's the CEO of Grayboe. He's also a physicist. So we went a little bit into quantum physics and lots of interesting topics when he came on. And I also talked to Jeff Teagues. He's a former Delta Force lieutenant colonel, and talk about Jedi Master. This man is a Jedi Master. It was probably one of the most intriguing people I've ever talked to. Super interesting. I talked to Chris Voss. He was a former lead international FBI hostage negotiator. So that one was super interesting. Dom Rosso, he was a SEAL Team 6 DevGru operator, very faithful warrior. His story is really heartfelt and interesting. And then I wrapped it up with your buddy, Eddie Gallagher, former Navy SEAL chief. So it was a really fun, really powerful season, and I'm looking forward to season 5.
Nice. Yeah. So tell us about how you got into all that, and like when you decided to you were going to do a podcast, and like what was that drive? What made you do what you're doing?
Well, I was just thinking that the time that we're living in right now is such an interesting and historical time. We're living through history, and I really feel like it needs to be documented. And a lot of the warriors that I sit down with or will sit down with, I think it's really important because of their combat experience to see what they're seeing right now and to hear how they're preparing right now, because we all try to laugh and we all try to live our lives and we all try to crack jokes, but the world is crumbling right now around us, and it's going to take a warrior spirit. It's going to take a bulletproof spirit to persevere with the obstacles that are facing all of us. So the show Bulletproof is more a state of mentality, but it's also a play on words, because I do like to talk to first responders and honor all of our veterans, our combat veterans, our wounded combat veterans. And it's such a time as this. This is a time when we need all hands on deck. We need everyone holding the line. And that's going to take not just from our veterans and first responders, it's going to take everyone to have a bulletproof mentality. If something happens like a cyber polygon event or an EMP or a sleeper cell is activated, we all need to be prepared and we need to be ready.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, you saw how people lost their minds just because Facebook and Instagram went down for a couple hours, you know?
I mean, I was pretty upset when Fortnite was out all day yesterday. Like, I was like, what do I do?
But it's been increasing. What, AT&T a couple days prior? Like, it's just, you know.
But that was like nuts. AT&T going down like that.
Yeah, and it was in multiple states as well. So yeah, Brian says he was happy. I agree. Like social media for a while, but
Brian, you're on Facebook more than I am.
Yeah, me. Yeah,
I think he liked it because then he didn't have to moderate.
Yeah, he didn't have to moderate
on Veteran Trash Talk. But yeah, it's a good point. And then Russia and sleeper cells. Like I do feel like we do live in some crazy times. But they can come to Arizona because we are equipped, and I think Texas. You're equipped in Florida, but some states would be screwed if some sleeper cells got activated. New York,
all the major cities would crumble. They would crumble instantly.
I think the only one that might actually survive would be DC, just because its proximity to Virginia and the outlying parts of Maryland that are just like the hills.
Yeah.
No.
Go ahead, Ace. The World Economic Forum talks about an event like Cyber Polygon, where everything is down for a couple of months. The infrastructure is totally down. There's no food, there's no water, there's no electricity, there's no power. So it's down for just a couple of months, and just long enough for everyone to say, help us, please. And then the whole financial system is reset, and it now becomes a digital currency and a digital reset and a police state. So we really need to have all eyes on the ball. Everyone needs to stock up on food, on water, on supply.
Government, New World Order. My people hat coming back on.
That's why you go to 4 Patriots right there. Get your Patriot Power generator.
Ace, you just did a great plug for our sponsor. Yeah, so four Patriots,
she said just a couple months, right? Don't they have for 4Patriots.com VTT, 3-month food supply?
Yep. So if you go to forpatriots.com/VTT, not the GW, the GW will get you to the generator one. But if you do /VTT, they give our audience a discount on the 3-month food supply. So yeah,
we'll have reviews of that soon, won't we, from Buddy?
Hopefully, I don't know if it got out to Buddy or not. But I want to get back to what Ace was talking about the bulletproof mentality. Now, what I always like to do is kind of put to the audience, because our audience is very diverse, which we really, really enjoy. Now that bullet, like when I was talking about how, weak people have allowed what's happening now, I don't think that we are in any type of dire situation that the same people 100 years ago didn't think that they were in a dire situation, or 100 years before that. All right. But what I do agree with, and this is my own personal opinion, what I do agree with is that we are always at a constant battle of what to do right or wrong. Right. And then again, if you can get enough people to put the wrong in a box over here where it's not that big of a deal, right, then all of a sudden that box opens. Right. And so I do agree that we do need to be on a line with each other. And it kind of stems with what Veteran Trash Talk does, with getting enough people in a community to understand what the values that we are supporting. Right. And if you get enough people to support those values, then yeah, you don't become necessarily bulletproof, but you become a force to be reckoned with. Right. And now that can scare people. So yeah, Ace, when you've been doing this, building that bulletproof mentality, what are some of the things that you've picked up on, that you've grown, that you've seen from the people you've had on your show, that have either made you maybe rethink what you were doing, or justify what you're doing? If that makes any sense.
Right. Well, a lot of the people that I've talked to, the common thread has been that everybody is stocking up in their own way. I had former Green Beret and musician Derek Stoner. He had recently moved and bought a small farm and started to homestead, because in 2020, everybody that I've had on my show, for the most part, their spidey senses have gone off. And they've started little by little to make sure that their EDC is on point, that they've started to all establish a community and make sure that that's on point. They made sure to level up and know what to do in case of a hemorrhage, have some sort of medical knowledge, have some sort of knowledge of mapping, GPS, your surroundings, have some sort of knowledge of what's happening politically and geopolitically. And so the common thread, I think, that verified also what I've been thinking and what I've been doing, is that not only do you need to level up, you need to use your intuition to feel what's happening around you. Because like you said before, 100 years ago, they were in a different position because everything wasn't so tied technically. So they weren't so reliant on their entire grid being connected to power, and their cell phones and their communication and their phone and their food.
Well, you do got to be careful of looking through history through our current lenses. I'm talking about just the mentality of the world sucks right now. I wasn't alive 100 years ago. I'm just guessing that people said the world sucked 100 years ago too.
Well, you have a lot of similarities between now and the 1920s, between the Great Depression, times of high inflation, people starting to rebuild their gardens, people starting to tighten the belt on their supplies, people starting to make a loaf of bread stretch further to make a pot of stew last longer. So a lot of those things come full circle back.
Well, very true. Very true.
Yeah,
I agree with that too.
To expand on that, there is talk of like the millennial coping is homesteading. Like everybody is talking about it all over social media now. You're seeing a huge increase in people doing sourdough starters just because it's more sustainable. It's cheaper. We posted about the clocks rolling back, and maybe the price will roll back too. There was this viral thing recently about Five Guys. $25 for a burger and fries.
You should be eating that burger and fries anyways. Bad for you.
That's why I go to In-N-Out, man. In-N-Out is real, bro. In-N-Out is amazing. They haven't changed. Like the prices at In-N-Out are amazing.
All I'm saying is Tiger Woods had In-N-Out before his second round in his first golf tournament back, and he had to leave with the flu. I'm just saying, like.
I haven't had fast food in about 10 years because I'm living in 1940, basically. I honestly haven't had fast food in 10 years. I think the last thing I had was a Nachos Supreme, I think, from Taco
Ooh,
Bell,
that's
and it was
good.
like
That's good.
$1 back in the day. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm hearing about these prices, and I think it's just going to get worse.
Yeah, and
No, there's definitely a hike in prices, yeah, and especially like we might not feel the effect as much, but going into other countries, like my dad said, like Europe is so bad right now. Like Germany, gas prices, like last winter they were starting to get scared because they couldn't heat their homes during the winter. Like
weird.
you
All
know,
these beautiful socialist
Here comes
countries
Germany.
that they
well,
try to tell us about.
a lot of it has to do with obviously Russia and Ukraine, but just like the situation overall is just a little concerning. I would definitely agree with that.
We get it,
For sure.
Dave.
Well,
You
we have
speak
to
3
look at our
languages.
truckers also. I love the truckers, and I think the whole nation basically sits on the backs of truckers.
Oh
But
yeah,
look at what
Truckers and
we're
farmers.
going through. Yeah, our
Truckers
truckers
and
and our
farmers.
farmers are making everything run from soup to nuts, and they have to deal with diesel prices. They have to deal with trying to get into blue states, and now the truckers are even being politicized. Don't go here, go there, cut off supplies to here, don't enter into there. So when that's weaponized as well, when our very infrastructure, which in America, that's the entire trucking industry, from water to medication to solar panels to you name it, dog food, our entire infrastructure is reliant upon the trucking industry. So look what they're going through now. I don't know if any of you guys are truckers, but from diesel to,
It's
what?
crazy. It's happening worldwide because it's happening in Canada too, to the point where like if they don't go, they're starting to talk about arresting them for not
Yeah.
going.
It's
Right.
Yeah.
happening in Europe too with
Well,
farmers and stuff. Yep.
and Buddy said this last year when he goes, he's like, we talk about, and I always steal this from him. He said, Buddy's traveling right now, otherwise he'd be on the show.
I think he was in customs last we heard.
Yeah, but he talked about
He
everybody.
is on a watch list.
Yeah, he is. And but we talk about wait till the farmers and truckers get upset. And all of these people that are the uneducated voter that I talked about earlier, who think that they live in this magical world where food just fucking shows up at Walmart, right? And it's like they want to vote in
Steak
all
tree.
these, right? And they want to vote in all these policies that make it really hard for truckers and farmers to do their job, right? Like the next step to that is the government subsidizing and taking over farms and trucks, which is exactly what you're seeing in the socialist countries, is why it doesn't work, right? And what you see in Canada, we're going to arrest you for not driving your truck. That's the next step, because these farmers and truckers are going to tell you to go pound sand, right?
Also,
And then
you have to consider urea, which is one of the main components of fertilizer. One of the main exporters of urea is the Ukraine. So we haven't even seen, and our farming industry here in America hasn't even seen the full effects of what's going to actually happen to our American crops, compounded with the how many millions of acres that just burned in the panhandle of Texas. So we really, now the harvest for that is all going to be coming in America this fall, but the food shortages are going to be happening next year, and we really need to, not to go back to your Patriot supply, but everybody really needs to be prepared for that possibility as well.
Oh, Ace, we are taking all these clips. You are pushing for Patriots like crazy.
yeah, we're gonna get you hired by them, so that's for sure.
Orpatriots.com/VTT for the food.
And now again, they're an organization that I had their chief of education on the show a couple weeks ago, and we talked about what his job is in the role of Four Patriots. And here's where I want to stop. I learned this from Ben Owen and and Colonel Mann, was like, you got to stop the conspiracy talk when you're actually trying to educate, because once you start the conspiracy talk, then you're going to lose support for doing what's right. And it's a really slippery slope that you have to be careful with when you're trying to do good, right? And that's what the main thing is. Like when we started the Task Force Maui, Task Force Lahaina, like once I got them on the same Slack channel, like I didn't have to do anything anymore. Those guys, they literally did this stuff in Afghanistan. So once these guys got their hooks into what we were doing, then I gave up operational control, because why wouldn't I? Like, here you go. Like, take it. Like, you guys are geniuses at this. And the one thing, right? The one thing that they warn people about is don't do the scare tactic, because you're going to lose donations and money conspiracies do suck, but what it does is it takes away from who you're trying to help, right? So now what we're talking about right here is where I like to stop people from going right to the crazy prepper thing, right? We're not talking about building a bunker, which you're not crazy if you do, but like we're not talking about building a massive bunker and having 10 years of food stored up. All right, we're talking about being prepared.
What Mark Zuckerberg's doing right now.
Right,
throw that out
right,
there.
right. But being prepared for 3 or 4 months, right? It's not that expensive, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. You're not crazy for being prepared to have your family survive for 3 months.
It could be a natural disaster that you need it for.
Yeah, right. It might have nothing to do with anything. Yeah.
Look at what happened 2 years ago here in Virginia. I was affected about it. It was all over national news where the freeway was shut down and all those cars were abandoned. I didn't have power for 4 days.
Right.
I lived off of a propane gas grill outside.
Yeah. And so again, to put it away in a box and think that things can't go terribly wrong very quickly. It's kind of dumb. Yeah. Right. And again, we like to live in our soft little bubble, and I'm just as guilty as this. I like to think hey, my golf course is going to be there tomorrow. Like I ain't got to worry about shit. And for the most part, I'm not going to worry about shit. Well, guess what takes away the majority of that worry? And here's your plug. 4 Patriots.
Be prepared.
All right. Be prepared.
And also, like, not to sound like a commercial, but it doesn't matter where you live in the continental United States. If you live in California, you have wildfires, you have earthquakes. If you live in Tornado Alley, a tornado can come through anytime, an ice storm, a hailstorm, a flood, a chemical disaster like in East Palestine, a hurricane. I lost, when I was living back in New York, I lost power for 10 days during Tropical Storm Sandy. It wasn't even a hurricane, but not only did I lose power, the area was completely flooded. Almost our entire area where we were living at the time was completely flooded. There was no gas in the gas stations, and none of the stores were open to even sell food. So without some sort of preparation for anything, then you could really be up the creek. And that goes for your vehicle as well. Make sure you have an extra supply of everything in the trunk of your car: water, warm blanket, a Patriot supply, or dehydrated food, or throw those MREs in your trunk too, an emergency kit, a flare, whatever it is, because I'll give you the perfect example. Dom Rasso, Navy SEAL, was on my show. When we were on the show, we were talking about combat, right? And things that happen in combat, and how important it is to have the certification to stop the bleed, because a hemorrhage can happen anywhere. A car accident, falling off your bicycle, anything, right? So we spent this whole time during the episode where he came on talking about stop the bleed and talking about hemorrhaging and how important it is to know how to pack a wound, apply pressure, etc., right? What happened to Dom Rasso the next day? His son and his wife and him were staying in a hotel. His son, who's a toddler, came running down the hallway, and as he was coming to his dad and his mom, who was standing in the door, what happens? He hits his head on the corner of the door, has severe hemorrhaging, where he had a first aid kit with him, applying pressure, packing the wound, you name it. Nothing's helping. The boy had to be rushed to the hospital, get stitched up, et cetera, et cetera. My point being that even a trained Navy SEAL who has everything on his person, right? A first aid kit, you name it, still found himself in an emergency where he needed to have those skills. So you can never be too prepared.
Yeah, we make fun of Navy SEALs a lot because just the fact that they're pretty much they're the Navy's version of like a basic infantryman. So
shots fired. Shots fired.
Yeah, and I mean,
we
cool.
do have the Army has Delta Force, which
but again, Delta Force,
they don't make movies.
SMU poaches from all branches, so they'll grab a couple SEALs once in a while.
Yeah.
But
we've had SEALs on the show too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We had all the black
comic book guy
guys on the show.
Well, for some reason, the SEAls always take their shirts off too, and it's like. Not
well, listen. Men's Month isn't until next month, so if you're going to be talking, I'm just kidding.
Right. Yeah, we can't give any praise to that. Not yet. No.
Well, it depends. That could be. You never know.
No, that's again, it's just good points and keeping it circled around the fact that like you talked about getting your certifications, and I use this the same way about getting, getting college degrees or keep taking college classes. And then like right away you'll get the, oh, college is stupid. Oh, okay, dude. Like, okay. Like I'm just talking about keeping your brain firing, right? Like keep reading books, keep making yourself better, right? And when it comes to like the certifications I'm reading from you, what I see there, and also you just see like a certain work ethic that you don't have to be just like Ace, you don't got to be just like Dave, you don't got to be just like Baker, you don't got like it's like what are you doing? And we say it in the infantry, what are you doing to improve your foxhole, right? Like just because you dug it and you created a field of fire, right? The next day things change, right? So what are you doing to improve it? Are you doing anything dumber? Are you doing anything better? Like what are you doing? Right.
Well,
And did you just fart? What was that?
I was gonna say if you sit stagnant and don't continue to learn, well then you just become a sheep, and that's when things happen that we don't want to happen. That's when we become a society of idiocracy, and you become complacent and just kind of go with
Right.
it. You have to
Yes.
continue to learn.
And
Yeah,
a
so
lot of
Ace,
I've noticed.
go ahead.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say that a lot of people that I've talked to also, I've noticed a common thread is even in war or in combat, a lot of them say, look for the thing that's out of place. Look for something where when you're scanning an area or clearing a room, something just looks weird, something's off. And it's the same thing in search and rescue. It's the same thing if you're a first responder. When something all of a sudden looks out of place, when protocol is broken, even in your everyday life, situational awareness, all that. When you see something that raises a flag, you have to be prepared no matter what the situation is. You have to have that level of awareness where you can notice things immediately if they're out of place and act accordingly.
Right. And again, that's make fun of the SEALs. That's basic infantryman stuff. All right. When you walk down the road, seeing something wrong.
And the road suddenly clears.
Yeah.
Everybody's running.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point, Ace.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm going back to a basic training story, bro. This is like a long time ago, right? Where I remember on a road march on Sand Hill that it was the final one before you did your grog ceremony and all that stuff, right?
Mhm.
And I'm walking and I noticed that there was like a McDonald's wrapper, and then I noticed like, and this is out in the middle of fucking nowhere, right? And it's like, and I'm sitting here like, that's weird shit, right? And then our drill sergeant was a real cool dude, one of the guys that actually trained you, and like he was like, any guys see anything weird on that road march? And nobody says anything. I didn't say anything. I'm not fucking saying shit. Like I'm like whatever. No, I didn't see that, drill sergeant. Like he was like, no, I put a bunch of like trash that didn't belong there. Anybody see anything? And I'm still not saying anything. No, but he did that to train your eye to catch that. And I always remembered that, and like a good teacher he was like that McDonald's wrapper should not be in the middle of, this road right now. Like, what the hell's that doing here? So that's a good point on that, Ace, with checking things that shouldn't be right. And then I'm going to toot my own horn here a little bit. I forget what show, and this goes into your, I wanted to get into your, when you're doing the missing persons thing. I watched a special. I think was it on John Benet Ramsey about how where they had him living in the woods, and he had them all dressed up like in their like religious garbs and stuff like that. And they would go into town once in a while. And I don't think it was Ramsey, it was somebody else.
It was
they'd
Elizabeth
take him into town. Yeah, that's it. Right. And they would actually go into town. And I'm sitting here like dressed like that, and nobody said anything, and nobody did anything. Right. But again, I'm watching it from an outside perspective, thinking that I'm going to be this Superman if I see it. Right. But if you don't have the emotional intelligence to see it and correct it, then this lady's going to walk right past you, be real subservient, 6 feet behind her master, right, in America, and you're going to be like, right, Ron, it's called situational awareness. Maybe we're not all as perfect as you, all right? But anyways, like, so no, you're right. It's situational awareness. So I was in Hawaii right after watching this station in Hawaii, and sure as shit, like we're in Manoa, like there's a beautiful rainforest, and there is like this weird looking dude, right, like beard, and he's scrawny, and there is a chick that is dressed just like Smart in that show, like putting her head down, walking like 10 feet behind him. Right. And I'm sitting there like, wait, I just saw some shit on this, and in that show, they said only one person ever came up to me and asked me if I was okay. Right. But doesn't mean you're going to do any good with that because she's already brainwashed and was it
Yeah.
Stockholm syndrome and all that shit. So I walked up to her and I was like, "Are you okay?" And he like came and grabbed her, right, like that, right. And so I just dialed 911. I was like, "Hey, like, got this dude. I don't know what's going on, but like, I'm pretty sure he's got some
Yeah.
slave right now, like
Yep.
some sex slave. Like, might want to check this shit out." Right. And I saw them, they got into this like shitty ass little fucking van. And I was like, hey, like, and I hope something good happens from that. I hope I do. But hey, we got a couple minutes here before we got to cut it out. But anything interesting from like the missing persons thing or what you learned from there? Anything that you could give some advice to the wanderer out there to be situational aware, like
Yeah,
Roman?
and I'll try to wrap it up real quick. Basically, when I was 8 years old and again when I was 22, I actually had 2 kidnapping attempts on me. And that sort of made me super hyper vigilant and extra interested in wanting to protect children and wanting to find them and keep them safe. So, first thing is if you're the parent of an autistic child, a child with autism, they are way more likely to find themselves lost because they have something called elopement where they like to run off and they are often attracted to bodies of water. So some of the most tragic cases that I worked as an incident commander were often children with autism who unfortunately ran off and many of them drowned. Some of them were found in the woods, but one of the really good solutions for that is they make a lot of really good tracking devices now, and one specifically for children with special needs, not only just the Apple IDs and things like that, but they make ones specifically online. You can sort of shop the brands online, and if your child has autism, it's a very good idea to buy one of those alerts where if they leave a certain proximity, you'll be able to track and be alerted immediately if they run off, especially if they find themselves in a situation like that. Another thing is that a lot of our veterans and a lot of people suffering with mental illness or a chemical dependency will sometimes run off to commit suicide. And sometimes they go back to a place that might have an emotional connection to them, a place where they might have a fond memory, a place where they used to go when they were a child. And a lot of the cases also were situations like that where a person would snap and have some sort of emotional or psychological breakdown, and they would go somewhere that usually they had an emotional connection to unfortunately commit suicide. So that's another red flag or another warning where if you know someone in your life, especially a veteran, if you find them in a mentally fragile state, it's really important that you get those people help right away so that they don't find themselves in that sort of desperate position. And another one I would say, 2 more actually. One is if you have a son or a daughter and they have a cell phone or you have a computer in your house, you need the maximum amount of parental controls on there. There are very easy ways where predators can see into your home through smart computers, smart televisions. Hackers can hack right in if they're playing a video game and be able to see your child, to see their bedroom, and to track their IP addresses. So you really want to be cautious of that. And especially when they get to their teen years and they feel vulnerable, those vulnerabilities can be preyed upon by traffickers and predators as well. So you really have to watch out and be very careful about things like that. And the final one is over 90% of the cases of people that go missing are people that are on a day hike. So if you're someone that likes to go hiking in the woods and take a trail and set out on an adventure, that's terrific. However, 90% of people that go missing find themselves lost on a trail, lost in the backcountry, without the proper signaling, without the proper way to contact anybody, without any flares, water, their proper medications or food. So the last thing I would say is always make sure to prepare before setting out on a hike, and always have a map of the trails on you.
Yeah, that was great
Very
stuff.
educational.
And again, I'm gonna hey Jack's Law 2.0. This is me replying to you on YouTube. He's like, whatever this guy's saying, don't handle it yourself, regardless of how brave you think you are, how badass you think you are. Like I always call the cops, Jack. That's what I did. I called the cops.
Make sure you give us a like and subscribe, please. Smash that like button.
I'm gonna say we'll keep our hero down to a minimum next time. Like, I don't even know if I did anything, Jack. I just like it was just weird that it wasn't weird. Like I said, I'm a spiritual person, so like when I watched that show, and all of a sudden, like 2 days later, I'm seeing the exact shit I just watched on TV. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, oh, that's that shit. Like, I'm gonna go over there and do something about it. But yeah, hey, pleasure having you on, Ace.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get you on again when we can figure out this technical difficulty stuff, because you didn't really get to participate in the fun trash talking stuff for the first half hour. So yeah, we'll do that. But hey, go check out Ace's Bulletproof podcast. The link is in the chat. I'm sure Chris will put it back in there again. It's also, you can find her on social media, and we'll let her give her all the handles here in a second. But go there and follow her. I noticed she doesn't have that many followers on Facebook, so we should probably change that. All right, let's get that going, because a lot of people are listening on other parts of the interweb. But go follow our podcast, listen to her guests, and again, just make yourself better. That's pretty much the AAR, is stop being a weak person. We all have moments of weakness, but don't be a weak person. All right, just like if you can stand up and do right, then do it. All right, and if you don't know if it's right, maybe ask around a little bit, see what people are thinking. But and you'll get that through education. So yeah, that's the AAR. We had Master Sergeant Promotable Gimbal on, who can't really talk about anything because he doesn't want to get in trouble. All right, where he's working. Don't worry, I know all your bosses. They're not going to do shit to you. Like when we started this podcast, When I started this podcast, I had to go and stand in front of General like 3 times. He's like, "Were you guys talking about this?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, so like whatever. But no, I just want to say, those of you that go to the Sergeant Major's Academy, it changes you. All right, you thought you were a cool dude, you thought you were for the boys, right? And then or woman, and thought that you were for the troops, but then it just turns you. All right, and then all of a sudden, all you're consumed with is APA writing style and haircuts, right? And it's like I just
and grass.
Right, and so
Mike.
Yeah, and grass. Well, so Mike, I encourage you, if you need a break, my door is always open in El Paso. You can come hang out.
Come on the nice side.
That might set you back. Yeah, come on the nice side. The west side of El Paso is pretty, right? Mountains, trees, all kinds of good shit. Right, so come on over. All right, we'll hang out. But all right, well, we'll give Ace the last word and let Dave close us out. Ace, where can we find all of your?
Well, thanks for bringing that up. The show's only about 11 months old, but we don't have too many followers yet. But come on over and follow us on Facebook under Bulletproof Podcast. You can find me over at Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music and Podcasts, Spreaker, and Reached Across America Radio, live on Monday nights at 10 Eastern Standard Time, 9 Central Time. And I just want to thank you guys for having me on today, and all of the great Americans for listening. It's important to just do something, whether it's get on and trash talk and have fun and make sure people get Patriot supply gear, or just meet with members of your community. Every American can do something, and it's important that we all stick together right now. So thanks so much, guys, for having me on today.
Yeah, awesome. Like I said, we'll get you on again. We'll get you on again when we have the technical difficulty squared away. We can talk some trash. Maybe bring you on with some of the NBA.
Yeah, it was great having you on. Thanks again.
Great.
For everybody
Thank you so much,
if you didn't get triggered during this show, and if you did, quit being a triggered pansy. Okay, you can see the QR code right there. If you go ahead and get that, cop it, $19.99, pretty darn cheap. All right, support the cause, support what we do. Again, Ace, phenomenal show. I'm gonna be checking out some of your podcasts now, because it sounds like you had some great guests on there. Thanks for coming on. I hope you come on again.
Yeah.
If you did miss this show, you can check us out on probably all the platforms she mentioned. I can only remember Spotify. I can't remember the rest.
Apple,
TBI, whatever. Yeah.
Amazon.
But go to VeteranTrashTalk.com. That's our website and has links to everything. And then Sergeant Major Gimbal.
No, I'm not Sergeant Major yet.
Well, he wanted to have the final word.
It ain't gonna be after this show
And
either.
airborne brings no relevance no more.
You are fucking high.
Get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah.
Catch you guys next Saturday. Boom.
Yeah, get out of the house. This is a food warning. The UN warns of an unprecedented global hunger crisis. In fact, it's predicted by 2030 that 800 million folks will struggle to feed their families, which means two dangerous things for you. Number one, higher prices at the grocery store. Number two, less food available. And when panic strikes, it will be chaos, making it even harder to get the food your family needs to survive. That's why it's vital, more than ever, to have a survival food stockpile. Introducing the deluxe 3-month survival food kit from 4 Patriots. It has 688 servings of meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, with delicious recipes like pancakes, mac and cheese, Aztec chili, and potato soup. They've even got spaghetti and lasagna. This isn't your typical survival food, and over 200,000 smart Americans agree. This is survival food that actually tastes good. But best of all, it's designed to last up to 25 years. You can stash it away and be confident that when a disaster strikes, you and your family will be ready. Go to 4patriots.com/VTT to get the deluxe 3-month survival food kit and the peace of mind you deserve.